Hello, folks, and welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's June 1st, the beginning of a new month, and we are here. I'm in my barricaded room of entertainment right now with a virtual background behind me, and welcome back with an all-new Stump the Joke Men episode. And I'm looking forward to this more than ever because there's a lot going on in the world, and today is a time when we need to all laugh, and here it is. And let me welcome the man of the hour that we all love and enjoy, Jackie the Joke Man Martley. Boom, there. Hey, what the hell happened?
It took me a long time to get in here, John, because
What
as
happened?
you know, I have cinder blocks completely surrounding joke land because I don't need any terrorists coming in and stealing my jokes because they're already freshly stolen. We don't need that.
Everybody wants your stuff now. You got something. You got a little something over there. Speaking of cinder blocks,
Where?
a little something in the nose coming out there. I'm not sure what it is. Oh, that's attractive.
Is that better?
Yeah, it looks much better.
I was sitting here with Scotch tape. I wanted to have some fun.
Oh, it's Scotch tape. I thought it was something white that was pulled up your nose. You gave me one of these.
Do you ever watch the stupid? You know, you get stuck on the Facebook and the internet and the Instagram. I wound up on one of those insects, animals, you know, like cheetahs eating deer and something. And they had an owl, a constipated owl that had tonsillitis.
Okay.
And it was so funny because he couldn't hoot worth a shit and he couldn't shit worth a hoot.
I like it. I like it. It's off to a good, clean start tonight.
Yes.
I have a lot of dirty jokes in front of me, but I don't. First of all, what is going on in joke land? You're in a quiet. Nobody's throwing bricks at you at all. You're in a quiet area.
You know, we have, you know, survivor's remorse. You know, we're on the water. I swam 5 times today, and we barbecued some chicken outside. And it's just gorgeous. And I tended to my garden and we bought some flowers. And meanwhile, the world is crumbling. You know, I feel like we're Nero and we're fiddling and Rome's burning.
Yeah, you know, you're absolutely right.
You're absolutely right. You know.
But let me ask you this: while you're trying to enjoy your life and have a good time, people don't know Jackie is an earthy guy, right? You're a very earthy person. I mean,
well, whatever that means. I smoke pot and I don't drink, and I walk a lot to the post office and back, and I never seem to get any checks. But yeah, no, we're very, very down to earth. You know, I live in a little tiny town that time forgot with a beautiful girl, and we just we're very mellow. Like the other day, by accident, you know, my sister and her husband and my niece and her husband and the twins, the baby 9-month-old twins, and my nephew and his girlfriend and the father sniffing, and this what we wound up with. You know, if you try and organize a party, it's impossible.
Sure.
If you don't try and organize, all of a sudden you got 12 people and it's fantastic. You know, everybody's wearing masks, but when you're on the beach, you're separated anyway. It was just so, you know, just so nice, you know.
It is nice. And this, I don't know where it's going in the world we live in right now. Where are we going with all the masks and stuff right now? I'm in New Jersey. They just opened up June 15th is phase 2, which means you're allowed to eat outside at a restaurant, which who wants to sit out and sweat while you're eating anyway? So,
you know, it's, yeah, well, now you can get sick, yeah, even faster. Meanwhile, with these, all the riots and everything, and everybody's on top of each other, you know, even when things calm down, all of a sudden the pandemic's just going to, you know, either it's going to go to the moon, and if it doesn't go to the moon, everybody's going to say, why didn't it go to the moon? And, you know, I tell you, nobody's more frightened than me. I read the whole book, The Great Influenza, 1918, and it'll scare you. You know, I could almost wish I could put the toothpaste back in the tube and not have read it.
I know what you mean,
in the epilogue, it said, this is what could happen in the future. And what it said could happen in the future is happening, you know. So
you want to know something? No, I noticed this the other day. I'm listening to lots of news. I'm flipping between MSN and CNN and I'm watching all these different news episodes, and I watched hours of it. At the end of the day, I was rattled because it's a lot of and then you know something I noticed today, I didn't. Today I took the sun, I worked out, I walked a couple of miles, I had a nice great dinner, and you know something? I feel great.
It's a lot different, you know, but you know, you feel guilty. But meanwhile, if you sit and watch all that crap, you can't do anything about it anyway, you know.
Yeah. And
I'm like 72 and the world is coming to an end. I said, listen, who knows what's going to happen when it's time to act like an asshole. And I said, wait a minute. You've been doing that since 1952. So it doesn't really change anything. You know what I mean?
I'm just listening to the song coming in. I've got my dick out and I'm smoking. And we're not even on the air at that moment. I'm sitting there just laughing, thinking to myself, this is what we do. We do jokes. We do silliness. We have fun. And that's what we're here for.
I do have a new gig.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this guy that I've known for a long time owns a bunch of stations in Phoenix.
Okay.
And he's you know how people always threaten they're going to do something with you?
Sure.
I don't want to say Tim Sabian's name over the air, but they're always going to do something and they never do anything,
Right.
This is Harry, there's nothing I wouldn't do for him and nothing he wouldn't do for me. It's been 40 years. We haven't done a fucking thing for each other, and, but this guy's got a bunch of stations. Now he's got a bunch of stations in LA too, and he's getting more. And it looks like I'm doing jokes every day, just like on Twitter, every day at 4:20. One joke a day. I told him, listen, if we make it one joke, that way, if somebody's listening, they can remember that joke. They know there's one joke. That's the only thing they have to remember. And then they go and tell it. And if somebody likes it, they're going to say, hey, I'm going to listen tomorrow, And he agreed to everything I want to do. And God, that would be so great, John.
Dude,
because there's no reason it couldn't be on, it's terrestrial clean.
Of course.
But, most jokes, almost all the jokes can be cleaned up. I always scream about jokes that I don't have to scream to you because we're on the same page. Jokes are the essence. They really are the funny. So I'm watching Bill Maher on Friday and he's talking to Jay Leno and Leno's being his funny self from his garage. And then he says, hey, and I love these guys I love them, but this all so condescending. He's like, hey, Jay, why don't you do one of your bad jokes? Like, to these guys, a joke that's an actual joke is a bad joke. And that's not true. What it is, it means it's a real joke that actually has a punchline, And so Jay told a great classic joke that, God knows how long it's been around, but it was in my first joke book in 1982 with the name John Manfrolotti in it and my friend Warren Mertens from childhood and the comic strip. And that's 40 years ago.
What was the name of that book, 40? What was the name of the first joke book?
It was actually my first book was called Just Another Dirty Joke Book. And my second joke book was called The Only Dirty Joke Book You'll Ever Need. And it really is. And you really should see it because it is it's a museum of every comic's name ever.
I've never read this.
Really, they're hard to find. I'll find you one, but it's like, it's all the club owners and all the people from, the comic strip and the comics and waitresses. I mean, and it's so funny to see the names, and the guys, Wolfberg and Glenn Hirsch and Seinfeld, all these people, and, but the joke was the guy says to another guy in Fort Lauderdale, says, man, I just can't meet chicks. I'm having trouble meeting chicks. The other guy says, listen, the way to meet chicks down here in Fort Lauderdale is you got to impress these broads. You know what you do? Get a potato and put it in your bathing suit, and that'll impress them. And next day they run into each other. He says, man, I put a potato in my bathing suit. It didn't help. And the guy looks down and says, you asshole, you're supposed to put it in the front. Which is great, which is a dick joke. And they laughed, and it was the funniest thing in Jay's little 5-minute interview. Nothing against him. A joke is funny. It's like, one of your bad jokes there. Well, you found it.
I found it. Guess where it is? It's on Amazon, Jackie. This book is on Amazon being sold right now.
For?
You want to know the money? Okay, I'll tell you. Let me see. Don't be disappointed. Wait a minute. $1,012 for a paperback? No way. $33. They start at $33 and up.
All right. So
that's not bad.
There ain't a lot of them,
Yes, not a lot. I'm going to get one. I'm going to pick one up tonight. So
I wish I had 5 of them here. I'd send you one because you'd get a kick out of it.
Oh, that's fine. It's all good. So, by the way, guess who's here to say thank you?
Let me guess.
Are you a mentor?
It's not Einstein. It's not Leno. It's not Dolly Parton. Then that's me, Charlie Fisher.
He was here, but he couldn't come in. He was here a minute ago and he disappeared. No, it's instead.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Jackie.
I actually sent Miller some stuff, and I didn't ask for money, but he gave me the postage. You didn't have
Did he
to
really?
do that.
Why not?
He used to work for the post office.
That's the way I roll. Yeah. That's the way I roll, Jackie.
So you used to bring stamps home in your pocket.
He still got them.
I didn't
Canadian.
work. I had no contact with the stamps.
And look who's here also. It's the stoic master of silent. Oh, he actually. Yeah, I'm sorry, Charlie. I have no picture on it. Wait. We have this Charlie Fisher.
I never thought Charlie could have a worse picture than he had. He does.
Really?
Why not?
He used to work for the post office. Wait, somebody's
Jesus
playing it
Christ.
back. It's got to be Charlie.
No,
Yeah, it
that's
was Charlie.
Daniel. He doesn't know enough to turn off his radio.
Come on, Charlie. You have to lower down the volume. Also, by the way, Charlie's sitting in front of blinds, and it also looks like he's in Manhattan at in front of a big building almost as well. So, what's the deal, Daniel? You have a joke for us tonight? We're waiting on you.
I don't have a joke.
Oh, you just
I can't stump Jackie. I got his book. Those are the only jokes I have.
I'll get at it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all good. That's all good. And guess who else is here, Jackie? This is like the book you were telling me about a few moments ago. You know who's here?
A whore.
Oh, you wish you were that lucky. Check it out. I'll be right back to you, Daniel.
I don't have a joke.
Oh, Ian
Those are the
McKeon.
only jokes I have.
What's
I'll
up?
get at it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all good. It's all good.
I hear like
Guess who
a
else is here,
feedback.
Jackie? This is like the book you were telling me about a few moments. Somebody's feeding back. Who's feeding back? Is that me?
Can't be me, can it?
You were that lucky. Hey, I think it's me. I apologize. It's me. Check it out. I'll be right back to you, Daniel.
Is it me?
Oh my goodness. I did it again.
A joke?
Oh, Ian
Those are the
McKeon.
only jokes I have.
What's
I'll
up?
get at it. Okay.
Ian.
That's all good.
Ian.
I hear like a
shows.
feedback.
It never happened to us.
This is like the book you were telling me about a few moments. Somebody's feeding back. Who's feeding back? I just muted. You were that lucky. Hey, I think it's me. Guess who's feeding back? It's Ian. I just muted him and it came back. Watch. I'm going to unmute you, Ian. Watch. Ian's probably has it being played in another link right now on Facebook. That's why. Let's try it now.
No, he's sabotaging our
He's
show.
back. He's back. He's back. Ian, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in so long. It's good to see you.
No, I still hear a lot of feedback.
It's coming from your computer out somewhere.
It's coming from mine?
Has to be because now it's not. I don't hear anything. So it's coming. I think you have a web page open to Facebook Live to watch it.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me check that out.
See, we're not
It's
producing.
probably me.
Oh wait, if that's possible, let me just make sure.
It's
I
not
don't
you,
have
Jackie. I know. You're already clean, which is unlike you.
Oh my God.
Just don't touch anything. We'll get it going there. He's fine. He's cleaning up on his side.
It's not only that, it's a delay.
Yeah, you have to just shut that off when you come on, just like on the radio, because it'll feed back. And while we're waiting for Ian to fix that, here's the stoic Charlie Fisher.
Friday's called Hat On.
Oh, good.
it might not be politically
Wait, I
correct.
think it's working now.
You're good. I
Hat
don't.
from a
Everything's
retard.
good.
Charlie got his hat
Okay.
from a retard.
Can you hear me?
I hear you fine. You sound
All right.
great.
Now we're good.
Oh, you're all good. Ian, you look great. How are you?
Considering, I think I'm good.
You shooting films?
We're doing a lot of different stuff. We're trying to figure out how to shoot when nobody's in the room. It's the craziest thing ever.
You know what's going to happen, Ian? Everybody, same thing with the lies. Everybody I know, they're trying to make films and adjusting them to Zoom. By the time somebody gets it down to a science, everything's going to be fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, people are going to work it all out and they'll be like, oh, yeah, forget it,
Right. Yeah.
This
way,
is just,
way to go. You got the telegraph down to a science. Well, we just invented the telephone, you asshole. Yeah.
It's too crazy.
Ian. What's that orange background with the behind you? Is that? Oh, okay. Oh, cool. Oh, I see. I know. There's people. Do people know about the project with Jackie that you did, or that's a surprise?
No, Jackie. You mean the project we can talk about?
Yes, the secretive one.
The project that didn't involve me putting a potato in my bathing suit.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Jackie, people may or may not know that I'm a director in my day job, although that's a stretch these days. But I made a documentary about Jackie's life, about who Jackie is and what he's all about. And I think what's really cool about it, now that the movie's done, and we really haven't showed it at all because the festival's, stopped. So there's really no place to take it right now. But I made it because I wanted people to have the experience of what it was like to have dinner with Jackie or spend some time with Jackie, without not without doing it, but because they couldn't. I want Jackie to be able to share his unique Jackiness with the world.
And I think he certainly has. As a matter of fact,
now I have to. If I want to eat, I have to.
What is the name of this project?
It's called Joke Man.
And when is it going to be released?
Well, we'll see. The movie is done. I can say that, and it's ready to go to the festivals as soon as the festivals come back.
Okay. I didn't see you in the. Well, I can't wait for everything to come back. When do you think the window is before everything starts to come back? And by the way, we haven't done any jokes yet, but what do you think the window? We'll dick them up heavy.
So a guy is sitting at dinner with his wife, and he's reading, and he says, "Look at this. It says the average man speaks 13,000 words a day, and the average woman speaks 26,000 words a day. So there's your proof. Women talk twice as much as men." And his wife says, "Yeah, well, the only reason we talk more than you guys is because we always have to repeat ourselves." And he says, "What?"
Jackie,
you jumped the gun with the fucking.
Jumped the gun on the. I thought it was an accident.
The fucking
hey, Jackie, at least he didn't do the snare drum thing.
Yeah. Oh, please.
Oh God!
Everybody's gonna die.
John, you were on our show. You were on our show several times. I don't know if you were ever there for one of the times when somebody on the phone would make that snare drum noise and Jackie would lose his shit. There's two things that really make Jackie crazy: the snare drum noise,
right?
Joke Man spelled as one word.
But you know what?
There's three things. There's one other thing.
I've given up on all of them.
You give it all up. There's one other thing that gets them twisted too. When you tell a joke and the joke is not in the character of the person speaking, that drives them insane. You have to say it like this. If it's an old lady, maybe old lady. If it's going to be a grumpy man, be the grumpy man, right?
Okay.
We had so much fun with that shit.
I mean, God. He would make joke, on the joke hunt, forcing people to tell jokes 3 and 4 times until they got them right. And I'm like, Jackie, we're live, right? We can't just edit the good one in.
Nah.
I am so happy.
Guy walks into the bartender at 11:30 as he's cleaning up. And he says, "Man, you're here late tonight." He says, "Yeah, I got thrown out of the house." He said, "Oh, that sucks, man. What happened?" He says, "Well, yeah, it was our anniversary. And I took her out to dinner. And we had a bunch of drinks. And when we got home, she took off her clothes and said, 'Do anything you want.' So I tied her up and then went and fucked her sister." That's a little twist, that old joke. If you can get in fucking the sister, that always works.
Oh man, I was thinking it's great to laugh with all the shit that's going on right now. It's amazing that you guys are doing this, and I'm actually laughing. I mean, one of the things that I miss so much, and I know Jackie feels the same way from since the joke hunt stopped, is every Tuesday night we would laugh for an hour during the show, and then we would go out for dinner and laugh for 2 hours more. And Wednesday, I would literally be sore from laughing so hard.
And it's that whole thing about it's the best medicine and endorphins and blah, blah, it goes on and on. But it's so absolutely true. It is absolutely true, And that's why I like to laugh so much, but it's crazy. I mean, I when I'm getting ready to do something or I have to listen to something to get ready and I'm listening to myself, I'm sitting there laughing at myself, and I thank God people can't see me. You're like crazy,
But Jack, you didn't tell him? Tell Ian, go ahead. Before the show began, I don't know if you call this a show. This is just a stream live, but it's kind of funny. But you just said before we began, you said, "Hey, maybe we should maybe postpone it because everything that's going on in the world." And I'm feeling it's just the opposite. Everything that's going on in the world. Let's have fun. Let's make people laugh.
I always go on with David Feldman. and he has this pretty serious liberal podcast, and it's very political. And he got very funny people on it, but with a serious bent to it. And I'm like, this is a little crazy to do it. And he said, well, tonight, he said, I got, a lot of people listening live and everybody's looking out the window at the craziness that's going on. So now you're going to do your jokes. And I'm like, well, that is no fucking way to tee me up. And
that was his intro to you?
No, I'm exaggerating. But I said, Dave, you want to put it off for a week? He said, no, you know what? This is so necessary. I said, and he said, maybe we should discuss it first. And I said, no, there's no such thing as, I know how bad things are, but let's laugh. Like, I had to do a show at the Riviera like a couple of weeks after 9/11, and I didn't say a word. I went out there and did my hour and a half and killed the people for an hour and a half, and they needed to laugh so fucking badly. And then I was done. I said, listen, it's not like I don't know what's going on in the world. I'm not a moron, but there's no way I could come in and say, hey, the Twin Towers is no more, but let's try and have fun, because that's not how you do it. So I said to Feldman, don't say, well, Jackie was thinking this isn't a good idea, but I said, you got to pretend you're opening up the door and a fucking idiot walked in and started telling jokes. That's
a very
good to do
point.
it.
It's a very good point. That really is. That's a great point. And the other thing that I've learned just talking to Jackie through all these things is there's no such thing as an old joke. Every joke is new if you haven't heard it. That's another big thing I've been thinking about a lot lately, because I love jokes, humor, and all of this stuff. And it just makes me smile thinking about it.
I keep coming across more and more shit. And I don't know how far I ever went into this with you, John, and I'm pretty sure I went into it with you, McCann, was the joke nevertheless.
Hit us.
And well, it's a great joke, but I keep coming across other versions of it. It's such a classic joke. And there was this guy I knew who was a writer, and he wrote a one-man show called George M. Tonight. And it was the life story of George M. Cohen. And it was a one-act play. One actor did the whole life of George M. Cohen and the songs and his whole life, and his brother and my sister thanks you and my father thanks you, that whole thing. And in the whole play, there was only one joke. And it was my favorite joke, and one of my favorite jokes. And I said, Chip, I can't believe George M. Cohen used to tell my favorite joke. And he said, Jackie, I got to tell you the truth. That's the only thing in the play that's not true. I had to put that joke in because that joke was told to my family by Carol Channing, who told us that it was told to her when she was a little kid by her grandmother. Okay. Meanwhile, it's a joke that I bombed with.
This is from the 1700s.
This hundreds of years ago. Meanwhile, it's a joke I bombed with at the Don King roast.
Right.
The reason I bombed with it was so long.
That's horrific.
Not just long. I delivered the punchline off the podium, which I kind of had to do, but I'm an idiot because it's 3,000 people in the Sheraton, and they didn't hear me. But I'll tell you the joke, and the reason I told it at the Don King roast is because the way I heard it, it was a boxing joke. But the fact that it's a boxing joke has nothing to do with anything, okay? And so it's 1958, and it's Madison Square Garden, and it's the world's heavyweight championship. And the announcer comes out. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Madison Square Garden to the world's heavyweight championships. In this corner, in the black trunks, weighing in at 220 pounds, the challenger from Sweden, Mr. Ingemar Johansson. And in this corner, the champion of the world, in the white trunks, weighing in at 215 pounds, the champion, Floyd Patterson. Before we begin our bout, we have to sing the national anthem, the lovely Kate Smith. And somebody sitting ringside goes, Kate Smith? That fat cunt? She sucked every cock on the East Coast. And the announcer says, nevertheless. So when I told that, here's the podium, I was leaning down, and as I was saying, that fat cunt, I was staring into the eyes of Dionne Warwick. So meanwhile, that joke is everywhere. It's everywhere, right? And I'm reading a page from, I was a big fan of Sam Goldwyn and Louis Mayer. Those books are fascinating because all those old moguls were just characters. They were all from the same area in Europe. It's crazy. And all of a sudden, they're talking about that Louis Mayer used to go to this crappy little vaudeville house, and that he loved this one guy that got up and performed, and he always would say, "Oh, and now Charlotte's going to sing for you." Charlotte's a whore. Nevertheless, I'm like, holy shit. And in George M. Cohen Tonight, George M. says, and now Mary McDonald is going to dance for you. And said, Mary McDonald is a slut. Nevertheless, and it's just so fucking funny every time. But the joke has been around and around and around. And somebody told me that they were watching whatever the game show was with Richard Dawson. Is that the right name?
Feud.
Family Feud, yeah.
Richard Dawson, but Richard Dawson was on Do Re Mi. For some, maybe they had celebrities sometimes, and Gene Rayburn had the long microphone with the little thing.
Oh, that's a match game.
Yeah, okay, and so Gene Rayburn said something to the other contestant, and the other contestant said, "Well, nevertheless," and Gene Rayburn and Dawson both went to their knees, and then got up and said, "We can't explain why we're laughing," you know. And so, and now that I told you that, it comes up, and in fact,
whenever that word comes up,
Alec Baldwin's new book is called Nevertheless, and I keep meaning to ask him. It's got to have everything to do with that stupid joke, you know. When I did Leverage, we went out and got really drunk after we did the show because they had just gotten renewed. And meanwhile, I just taped 2 lines in the show. So I took full credit for them being renewed, even though it wouldn't air for another 6 months, right? So we get real loaded. And I told Timothy Hutton that joke, and he went fucking berserk. Because it's really funny. It's so stupid, you know.
Well,
I'd love to hear Carol Channing.
It just kind of comes from nowhere. But John, what you were saying before about, you know, there's no such thing as an old joke, because if you haven't heard it, it's a new joke.
Sure.
That's true. But one of the things that I learned sitting next to this guy for so many years was that even if you know the joke, it still can be a new joke, because there's the theater of it comes out different every time, just slightly different. Like the way Jackie just told the joke tonight, I've never seen him hold the glass as if it were a boxing microphone. Like he's never done that before. So to me, you know, there's a new layer of the joke.
Right.
So,
yeah, at some point along the line, I realized you could grab anything, do that, and it really does create the.
Well,
you know,
it totally puts you in the place, you know.
And it draws the difference between the guy heckling and coming back to the guy, you know.
But when we're talking
so
about
fun.
Jackie's jokes and his creation and the way he thinks about it and what he's taught us, it almost seems like I'm at a eulogy right now.
Jesus Christ. Now, I told you what, speaking of eulogy, you know, Jerry Stiller passed away. I would tell you, I did a show at the Friars Club, and Jerry Stiller and Ann Miro was sitting at my feet. And it's so intimidating. The Friars Club, anything, you know, when there's other performers there, it's always a little weird. And Jerry Stiller and Ann, I always go to say Jerry, and I didn't know the guy, but Jerry and Ann are sitting, and they laughed really hard. And at the end of the show, he came up to me, and he gave me the weirdest, not compliment. He said, "You were excellent. You realize that each of your jokes is a one-act play." And if you think about it, if it incorporates Dirty Johnny and his dog and his mother and his father, it really is a one-act play, as opposed to a linear. The guy goes into the thing and the store owner says hello and he says, "How you going to do?" If all of a sudden they each become characters, you know. And I thought, wow, that was a fine compliment. You know?
Well, Penn Jillette in the documentary actually pays Jackie a really, really great compliment where he talks about jokes and the way Jackie presents them, saying that they're not his jokes, that they're our jokes. He says something like it's the comedy equivalent of singing like "Oh Susanna" by a campfire. I mean, these are things that that belong to all of us. So the first
Take
person,
your top.
the first person stuff is great and it's funny and it has its place, but Jackie, to my knowledge, is really the only person who's preserving the collective funny of our history of jokes.
Well,
Totally agree.
and everybody loves them. It's so funny because there's a great documentary, one of those Ken Burns documentary on country music, and it's long. It's like 8 2-hour hunks. It's fantastic. But Woody Guthrie didn't write "This Land Is Your Land."
Who did?
It was an old like a black song, It was like not quite a spiritual, but it was in the air, and he changed a few of the words, and but just like the two-bagger joke is a Rodney Dangerfield joke, but that joke is everywhere. But if you take the right thing and you take the right thing and polish it up and put a frame around it, like
Jackie, I have here.
Andy Warhol put a frame around a tomato can, and he got to suck every dick on the East Coast, which is my goal.
I have here somebody finally that wants to tell a joke or stump us. You ready?
Tell them we're not interested.
Now you're not interested.
Sure, let's
Check it out. There you go. All right, there it is. Hypnotist Perry B. from Pennsylvania, I believe, right?
I have here.
Andy Warhol put a frame around.
Oh, Perry, I'm gonna mute you a second. Perry, you have to mute your.
Read my mind. I'm thinking. Turn off your fucking radio.
I have here somebody finally that wants to tell a joke.
All right, so Perry, you have to shut down your volume so you can hear it live.
We'll see you in about 18 seconds.
Check it out. There you go.
There you go. You got it.
Perry B.
Wow, look at the size of the glasses. Hey, tell me,
Remember me.
yeah, hi Perry. Yeah,
Perry.
you got to shut your radio. You got to shut your radio. You got to load down your Facebook page. I just muted him for a second. By the way, those glasses are huge. Can you tell us when the pandemic is over?
Wow. Christ, with those glasses, I can see what he's thinking.
Let me unmute him again, see if it's working. Okay, Perry's a hypnotist, by the way. Let's see. All right, Perry, you're back. Can you hear us? No, he's still playing. He's still playing.
Why is it such a tough concept to turn off the volume?
Well, it's not the volume. You have to find the window that's open and shut it.
Yeah, I'm muting him right now. So Perry, what you have to do is you have Facebook Live playing on the Facebook page. You have to mute that Facebook page live, so you can only hear us live. Well, you that I don't know. Just shut your.
Perry, it goes back to your childhood. Perry.
Let me unmute you. Let's see. You have to lower some shit. Who knows? Let's see. Now we sound good.
You have to find the window that's open.
Oh my God! It's like three-part workshop. All right. So
Meantime, I'll give Jackie. I won't do a stump the joke man with Jackie, like give him a setup, but I'll throw a topic at him and let's see if Jackie can give us a joke.
You got it.
Okay, you ready?
He's on the spot now. Go ahead.
Drummers.
What's it mean when a drummer has tobacco juice dripping out of each side of his mouth?
What?
He's on the level. That's
I never heard that joke.
How do you know when it's a drummer knocking at your door?
How?
The knock speeds up. That's a good one.
You put the guy on the spot.
The greatest fucking musician joke in the world is the two cowboys are riding along, and all of a sudden one cowboy turns to the other cowboy and says, "I don't like the sound of those drums." And from over the rise, somebody else, "He's not a regular drummer."
Let me give this guy another chance. Let's see. All right, I'm unmuting you, Mr. Hypnotist Perry B.
On the spot.
Can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't. You have to have you shut that stuff off. So, all right.
Tell him to call you on the phone.
Jackie, there was another drummer thing or musician. It was a drummer. It was. What does a? Here's a stump for you. What does a drum solo paying your taxes and death all have in common?
And the premature orgasm.
And a premature orgasm.
He's
You know
telling
they're
you to shut up.
coming. You know they're coming, but there's no way you can prevent it. Why is the drummer put his drumsticks on the dashboard?
Why?
Why?
So he can park in the handicap space.
I like it. I like it. I like it.
Wow.
Hey, what did
But there's a drummer joke about living in his girlfriend's car or something, isn't there?
Oh, how do you know if a drummer moved into your basement?
How?
He's still there.
Just one topic.
One topic.
This is what would happen. Like on the show, I would just throw a topic out, something wild, and Jackie would just have a way.
And they lead.
I have a guy. I have somebody that wants to tell, I guess, a joke. Here he is. This is Bob Rumba. I think you've met him once at a gig. Here we go. There you go. Hello, Bob.
How's it going?
Good.
I can't handle
Turn
this.
your radio up.
Okay.
No.
Do you
No,
want it
it's a
up?
different guy, but it's the same
joking.
glasses. Hi, Bob.
Hi. So I keep listening to the guys with the feedback. It's being like Groundhog's Day. Like it happens over and over and over again.
And it's such a long delay. It's like he's saying stuff that we said last week,
Yeah, it's nice.
Bob, do you have a good story or a joke that you want to tell?
Do you want to do the one about the one from Italy with Tarzan in it?
Just tell a joke. Have
Hit
fun.
it.
Tell a joke.
Okay, it's from Italy, so I have to tell it with an Italian accent.
He's like that.
We'll be the joke.
All right. Tarzan, he's a ghost swinging through the vines through a jungle, and he's see a lion down there. So he goes down. He's a swing down. He's a grabbing the lion right the chest, and he's to say, "Hey, who's the king of the jungle? Who's the king of the jungle?" And the lion says, "Oh, you, Tarzan, you're the king of the jungle." He said, "That's right, and don't you forget it." So he's swinging some more. He sees a gorilla. He grabs the gorilla. He grabs him by the chest. He goes, "Who's the king of the jungle? Who is the king of the jungle?" He said, "I'm sorry, you are a Tarzan." I always remember, "That's right, and don't you forget it." So he says, he swings around. He sees an elephant, and he comes down. He grabs the elephant because he can't grab him by the chest. He's grabbing by his balls, and he says, "Who's the king of the jungle? Who's the king of the jungle?" And the elephant says, "Oh, you are Tarzan. You are Tarzan." He goes, "That's right, and don't you forget it." Then he said, "Hey, by the way, could I ask you a question?" He said, "Sure, what?" He said, "How's come every time you forget your name, you squeeze my balls?" Did you know that one?
I knew that joke until he got to the end. I didn't know that joke.
Wow.
Because he told him.
I'm trying to figure out the Italian connection, but I loved it.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with anything because the joke is funny because when I first joined the Friars, I think I didn't want to be that dirty. And I told a joke at lunch. And do you remember Ruth?
Gordon?
Everybody hated her.
Ruth Stern.
Ruth Stern.
Ruth Stern, the agent in New Jersey.
I told a joke, and she said,
Oh.
"And who's the guy from the Catskills that never left the Catskills but was famous up there? What the hell was his name?
Oh, the million old Jewish acts, Borscht.
But the one guy that was like really big up there, and he came out of the service and never left the Catskills.
I don't know.
But Ruth goes, "Oh, now you're stealing from Charlie." And meanwhile, I already knew 40 years ago that every joke is an old joke. But the joke was the lion's going through the jungle, and the lion goes up to the mouse and says, "Who's the king of the jungle?" And the mouse says, "You are, lion." And the mouse goes up to the cheetah and says, "Who's the king of the jungle?" And the cheetah says, "You are, lion." And the lion goes up to the elephant and says, "Who's the king of the jungle?" And the elephant picks up the lion with his trunk and twirls him around and throws him 30 yards, and the lion smashes into a tree. And the lion says, well, you don't got to get so pissed off just because you didn't know the answer. Which is
Jackie, the other lion joke that I love of yours is the roar.
Yeah, hit it.
The gorilla?
The Lord, whatever his name is, the English.
Bob, this is great. The British Men's Club, and they're all sitting around a nice wooden place, very old. And the old guys are sitting around, and the oldest guy is Colonel Rowlandson. He's like 95 years old. He's been around. He's done it all. And one of the old guys says, Colonel, do tell us a tale of one of your exploits. And he likes to get going. You know, he says, okay. There's a time, you see, we were on safari in Kenya. It's quite hot. And the carriers, the fuzzy tops were a bit tired. And we decided we'd stop and have a spot of tea. So we stopped in a clearing to have a spot of tea. And it was just sitting, just starting my tea, about to take a sip, when out of the brush came a huge tiger. My God, I shit myself. One of the other guys says, well, that's perfectly understandable, Colonel. What with a tiger coming out of the brush? He goes, not then, you blithering idiot. Just now when I went, I say, you know that joke? When they came to interview me for the Aristocrats, Penn Jillette and Paul Provenza came to my apartment, interviewed me for the Aristocrats, and we told a bunch of jokes and fucked around. And that joke is on the Aristocrats DVD in the DVD extras. That joke and the grill and the lion.
Great. Hey, Jackie, you got this. Somebody wrote in the chat here. Lisa Freud said, hi, Jackie. Haven't seen you in many years since the 1980s when you played Mr. Rips in Valley Cottage, New York. I used to stay at the Nyack Motor Lodge. Remember, you were sitting by the pool, needed shorts one day, and you called me.
I don't see who.
Lisa Freud. She's a singer, actually, I believe.
I loved Mr. Rips, but as far as I can remember, I don't think I guess I did stay over. Well, hi, Lisa. How you doing? Send me an email. I'd love to talk to you. Jokland, Jokland at AOL.com. Mr. Rips.
I remember Valley Cottage, New York. Great room.
When we first started there, Bob Woods booked it, and it was called Dubonnaise, and it was owned by two brothers, and then an Italian brain surgeon and his wife, who was also a brain surgeon, moved to America, but they couldn't get their doctor's licenses or were waiting. And so while they were waiting, this brain surgeon, I'm not kidding, changed it to Mr. Rips, and he owned it. And I was up there all the time. And did you know Vic Arnell, Ian?
Yeah, he moved to Florida. Yeah,
Vic Arnell lived right up there, and he came every time I played Mr. Rips, and he would laugh so hard at every fucking joke. He was so great. And I used to get so loaded, I can't even tell you. And now those were the nights where I will never know how I made it to work the next day.
You never know how you were borrowing women's underwear.
No, I would love to hear the story of the underwear. But it was so funny because years ago.
Well, Lisa, come in. You have the link. Come in and tell them the story. I'll put the link in the chat if she wants to come in.
For some reason, I think I was working. There used to be a big swamp right there. And all of a sudden, years later, the swamp is now a huge mall. And in the mall was a new Rascals Comedy Club, which I think might be Levity Live now, for all I know. But there was Rascals Comedy Club. And I was there with my friend Red, and I said, you know, it feels like we're so fucking close to Mr. Rips. And I just, you know how sometimes just going on feel, I said, and I just started driving. I just, without thinking, almost, God, I hate to be an asshole, but it was almost like a Ouija board, you know, like I just let the car go where it went. And all of a sudden I said, that's it. That's it. And I knocked on the door, and the guy answered the door. I said, this is going to sound weird, but I'm a comic and we used to play here. And he let me in, and I took pictures from like where the stage was originally, and then where the stage got to be when the rocket scientists moved it. And then I sent pictures to like Minervini and all these different people and said, okay, where am I? And they were like, because it looked vaguely familiar. It was so
What was
fucking
it?
funny.
What did it become?
I think it was a restaurant. I'm pretty sure. The fact it was called King's Row, I'm pretty sure. It just popped into my head.
I remember playing that gig. There was a gig I used to do around that same time where I first started doing stand-up jokes was Betty's Fireside in New Jersey and Denville. Remember that joint?
I never worked Betty's Fireside.
Oh,
I
good for you.
got just big enough, just quick enough to just avoid Betty's Fireside.
One-nighter of Betty. And there was a strip pole in the middle of the stage. A brass stripping pole, which actually Eddie's here. I'm going to bring Eddie in as well. Eddie, say hello to Ian. I don't know if you know.
Oh,
Jackie.
I remember Eddie. Hey,
How you doing? Of course you do, boss. Yo,
I don't remember you being a stripper. Eddie used to be on the air up in
Albany, yeah.
Albany.
Yeah,
Wow.
Waking Up the Wolf. But the funny thing is, and I gotta say this, because I'm enjoying this too much, just checking this out. It's good to see you again, boss. But I gotta tell you something.
Hi.
What a lot of people don't know about Jackie, and because of the fact where some guys are famous and they're well known, they tend to be dickheads. This guy, my very first time ever on stage, I was nervous as hell. Right? Didn't know what the hell was up. Here's Jackie Martland coming up. Hey, look, let me tell you, that you calm down. You know your act. If you know it's funny, don't worry about it. Just do it. Fuck it, just do it. Like that. He goes up, they start the TV show. He's the host, brings me up like I'm a fucking superstar, right? I think I killed. Everybody got a kick out, but I just never forgot that. And then I opened for you, Mr. Rips and Chuckles and Minneola, and a couple other spots.
Listen,
It's
you
like,
guys, I was just trying to overcome my racism. You know what I mean? I was trying to hide it, and I probably overcompensated.
I got over it, I got over. I hang with Italians all my life, especially when I grew up in Mount Vernon, New York, man. There's only black guy in the neighborhood. I used to tell guys I was a Moulignon living in the world of Parmesan. That's the way it works. What the fuck you gonna do? But no, man.
Waking up with the wolf. We had fun up there. Now, who was Albany? Albany.
That was
Albany was Nick.
Tom Nicky.
It was Tom Nicky's show. We used to, and you come over after when I was up there, and I was shocked as hell that you were even up the area. And you came up and you came over to me. It was like, and I think all the guys were shocked that you actually knew, who I, knew me. And then went over to Nicky's, and that's when I decided. I said I'll open for him, and I just took the other guy's spot, and I opened for you that night up at his club. And it's
that was great fun. Do you know the story?
I enjoyed.
Ian, you probably don't know. Tom Nicky owned this club for years, and it was fun and cute waitresses, and we'd get so drunk and have fun. And then he moved the club to some kind of room, and he was doing okay. But then he started renting the same room for weddings, and he found out he could make more money booking weddings.
The state room.
Fuck the comedy. It was like, well, what about us? Fuck you, get married.
Yeah. You got everybody in the stateroom, and
now his son, Tom Nicky Jr., is managing Artie Lang.
Oh, is he really?
Supposedly, I don't. That was the last. At last, I knew.
Thank you, Eddie. I do have Lisa here too. Eddie, I'll see you later. Thanks, brother.
Eddie, behave yourself.
Good to meet you, Eddie.
He is not the only person that has good vibes about you. Here is Lisa Freud, the person that lent you underwear at the pool. Hi, Lisa.
She said shorts. I love how you turned it into underwear, though.
I turned it with panties in the next minute.
Oh. So, in other words, I didn't have anything to swim in, and you lent me a pair of shorts. He's making it sound like I shit my pants or something like that.
That happened later.
Yes.
Much later.
Yes.
Hey, now this is Mr. Rip. So this is 1983.
Actually, I'd say it was about 83.
Wow. So that means you're 95 years old. Are you 95 years old?
I remember so well. Exactly.
That was so much fun.
Exactly.
So much fun. Well, now were you one of the waitresses at Mr. Rips?
Well, Jackie, you actually. No, I used to play a duo gig there. My girlfriend, Janine, you might remember Janine, tall, good-looking girl. She was like managing the place. And Janine, her name was Janine Finch. And At the time, she was just Janine Finn, I think. Anyway, she would always, set us up with a big table and right in front of the stage, and it was hundreds of people. You used to pay our bar tab, Jackie. You used to pay our bar tab.
Now I know the story. Bullshit.
Hey. Do not never underestimate the horns of a comedian. I'm sure. I'm sure I tried to bang every one of you, and I'm sure I wound up with one of the waiters.
Well, no, I was just a musician at the time. I still am, but in those days, you were just like the best, entertaining, as always. We were so lucky to have you in Rockland County. I mean,
well, you know
like,
what?
Oh
that place, the people were right at your feet. They were at your ankles. It was such a joy. There was one guy that there was a joke, his favorite joke, because I would lean over when I told the joke and I would be right in his ear and the guy would go nuts. It was the joke where the guy says, the guy's banging his wife on the tile floor in the bathroom. And I leaned way over and say, he's buffing her. He's buffing her. And it's right in the guy's ear. And he's yelling along with me, he's buffing her. He's buffing her. And she says, what the hell are you trying to do? Get your balls in? And he says, I'm trying to get him out. And the guy was so great. And he came back every time. Oh, God. Now I'm going to dream about that place. We had so much fun. Wow.
I'm telling you, it's like a eulogy here. We're like, everyone's talking about the past, how much
you want
they
to hear
like
something crazy? You see right behind me? See that wall? That wall is completely full of cassettes that are double speed. You remember 4-track cassettes? They were, they moved at twice as fast as regular cassettes. They were only 22 minutes aside. I bet you I've got 10 shows from Mr. Rips on that wall. I wonder if those tapes still play. What a piss would be to hear.
One of the things that people don't know is that Jackie has kept everything.
Yeah,
in his career. That's one of the things we talk about in the doc, and you actually get to see some of Jackie's archives.
Wait till I text you. Wait till I text you the pictures I got of Lisa.
They have to be good. It was the 1980s.
No. You got to email me. You really do. You really do.
Okay,
you
Jackie,
still play music?
I will.
I'm
still.
You got to play a song.
Music.
Play a song next week here.
Oh, I love it. Are you kidding?
What is the website?
Well, I don't have it's funny that you even said that. I just started a new one yesterday, but it's not up and running. I'm just, I don't even have a website anymore. I'm just on Facebook,
That's
Lisa
fine.
Freud.
So
I play my little videos every day. I do my little shtick and I put it up from my living room. I'm still in Rockland County. I was away for a long time in Connecticut and Jersey, and I came back and I was in Tarrytown for many years. But I'm back in Rockland, and I'm just
how many marriages?
3.
Oh,
yeah, because you named 3 different towns.
That means 16. But
fuck them, write a song about them, leave them. Fuck them, write a song about them, leave them. Times 3.
That's how I'm so popular. That
Well, here it is.
I have to tell you. Oh, there we go.
That's Lisa's page.
Nice Trans Am.
That's my old Trans Am. I had that car when I saw you, Jackie. It was
I remember. I could smell the back seat.
They don't make them like that. That's a chop top from Daytona.
They don't make them like me either. Hey, John, do you know that story about the fancy Corvette? When I was in Florida working at the comic strip, my first album had come out. So when I went down to comic strip for the first time, I brought a bunch of my albums, and I was so excited that I had my own fucking album. Unbelievable. And the girls in Florida had no money. Most of them were, the waitresses were single mothers with a couple kids, and they were just a mess. But one of the girls had it together, one of the waitresses, and she had a bright red, brand new Corvette. Ooh. And it was unbelievable. And when I first got there, I gave all the, our first night out, we went to a place called the Brickyard, and I gave all the waitresses and all my friends, everybody got a free Jackie album. It was a 33 1/3 LP. And we went into the Brickyard and got drunk, and we came out, and this poor girl, somebody had smashed in the right window of her
Oh,
brand new red Corvette and
God.
stolen everything she had. And
oh,
she's freaking out. And Mike Reynolds, the juggling comedian, says, "Wait a minute." I could see him. He reached in under the pile of glass that had been the right front window, and from under the glass he pulled out my fucking record. They took everything but my record. I never heard the fucking end of that. It's like everybody's taste, you know,
Oh
you
my God.
cocksuckers.
that's hysterical. You know, for many, many years, Jackie, I worked for a guy named Michael Terry, and we did all of Howard's, you know, nobody would do, you know, sing, you know, the bad words, but I worked for them, and I did for 5 years for the American Comedy Network, did all my shtick up in Middletown, Connecticut for ACN and Howard stuff. And you were on the show in those days, like, you know, Lesbian Dial Date and all that stuff. I did all those tags, you know, here comes Patty with the best looking vagina in America. I did all that stuff, and I'm like, what happened? What's that?
No, that's funny. That's funny.
Hey, if it's a vagina jingle, I'm there.
So you got to go see if Mr. Rips is still there and
It's
have a
not
picture
there.
for us
The building-
next week.
The building is there. I'll drive by tomorrow and I'll send it to you.
It was ripped down.
Oh God, you literally, if people weren't laughing, you literally could hear the sheep in the pasture across the street. Literally.
Great,
I
great
know.
room.
I know.
Comedy of the
Unbelievable.
80s, late 80s and 90s. And by the way, Lisa, you look like one of these early earthy chicks. You got the band. It looks like you dated Billy Jack. You got the band and the hat. You look like you're pretty earthy. Are you do folk music, or what kind of music do you play?
I play everything. I'm a sound-alike vocalist, so I do everything. So if you go on my Facebook page, every day I say, "Hey, good evening, peeps," or "Good morning,
Very
peeps,"
cool.
and I sing a song that I wrote, or so it's fun. You know, I do anything.
Well, you know what they
I'm-
say.
I'm-
If
this is my
you want to give a
Michael-
comedian a hard on, put on a waitress's apron or a cowboy hat.
Or both.
Or both.
Yeah, it's 20.
Well, I
it's
did it for a
2020.
lot of years. I'll tell you.
Yeah, now that's
So
20.
Lisa, we'll
Hey,
trade
Jackie.
music. I'll send you my music CD,
I
which
would
was
love
a wink
that.
in my
I would
eye
love
back in
that.
those days. I didn't dare. Mr. Rips was after I actually was smart enough to have put down the guitar.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
Jackie in
Oh,
the
I
documentary-
remember those days.
Jackie's
that?
music, Jackie's music in the documentary that's coming out. He basically scored the whole film. We use Jackie's music throughout.
Which you have no
Oh, I
idea how much. I think nothing excites me more than that. But I don't say nothing because I'm waiting for the day where it says, you know what, we decided maybe we'll hip it up with a little
We're gonna change it up.
with a little Fred Zeppelin, you know.
Jack, he's waiting till
Oh,
you drop off. You
I
drop
can't
dead. All of a
wait.
sudden, he's like, it's the next week. It's
Right,
coming right
right.
out. It's all over
He's
the place.
gone.
It's huge.
No more pressure.
Ian, what is the joke
Can I
man
have
coming out?
one question, Jackie.
8 inches.
I have one question before I go. Do you still like Coffee Mate on Fire?
I never did that. That was Mike Ciccone. Who he said,
No,
you
there was
realize
somebody on stage
every
with
day
you
you
that-
drink this in the morning and then he turns it upside down and lights a match and it
Yes.
explodes.
But
No, that's Mike
Coffee Mate?
I
Ciccone.
saw you do it at Mr. Rick's. We were doing it
If
in the
I
parking
did
lot
it,
because
it
we
was to
couldn't
show
believe how
people something that Mike Ciccone.
it
I wouldn't have
was.
done it on
was.
stage.
It was,
I wouldn't have done it on stage. I might have done it at the table.
It
Christ, I
was-
might have whacked off on the table too.
Hey, it's time for Stoic it's for our Stoic Joey Fisher moment.
Oh, Lisa, I want to hear from you, hon.
Thank you, Lisa.
Where's Charlie?
Thank you for stopping by. And next week, come in and tell us a joke.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, come
You
back
should
with a joke.
Absolutely. Thank
just-
you guys.
She blew you a kiss. And back in 1980, she blew you.
Oh, that was a fun club.
That was a great club, Jackie. We're here at the end. It's 1 hour already, and we didn't. I have 7 pages of jokes I prepared and didn't do any, and so I'm just as well. It's all. There you go. You got your.
Where's that boo, Jackie?
Hey, Mr. Rips was the scene of one of the great stories from early in our days, me and Woods and Hawthorne and those guys, because Woods would book me and Minervini and Nelson and Bartlett, the same guys over and over, and they loved us. And I think we made $75, which was fucking unheard of. And when I first got going and my album came out, I was really trying to promote myself, and I made these little cards, like little table tents. And I'd put them on and say, you want to be on Jackie's mailing list? Fill us out and send it in or give it in at the end of the thing. So I said to Minervini and Woods, I said, listen, I got a gig in Jersey. I'll get there in time to finish the show. But you guys open the show and do me a favor, put my table tents on all the tables. And Minervini said him and Woods were like, this motherfucker, what are we doing? Putting the table tents on the tent. And so they got the bright idea. Because I'm coming late. They said to the crowd, okay, when we introduce Jackie, we want you to go berserk. But then when he starts telling jokes, don't laugh at anything he says. And they're all in. You know, the crowd, they loved us. So I can still remember, as I was walking to the stage, what went through my mind. And I'm not exaggerating. I swear on my mother, they introduced me. And the place went batshit. And on my way to the stage, I'm like, it's working. The table tents, the albums, the promotion, it's all working. And I got up there and they just didn't fucking budge an inch. And of course, I was like a rat in the corner. So I start insulting them and being shitty and being crappy. And finally, after about 10 minutes and 15 minutes, Woods is in the back. He goes, all right, folks, it's all right. You can laugh. Joke's over. And the audience was like, fuck you. He's an asshole. I never got it back there. I pissed him off so badly. So until he died, until Woods died 10 years later, whenever I started breaking his balls, he'd go, is this the payback? Is this the payback? You know, he was the king of
He was the greatest.
He was the king of the callback joke. He never laid anything. Is this the payback?
Hey, by the way, Jackie, Harvey Leeds, our mutual friend, wanted to say, hey, can we promote Southside Johnny on July 11th, the world's biggest drive-through show?
Cool.
Drive-in show. I think that's great, Harvey. Drive-in show.
That's great.
I asked Ian, I said, Ian, maybe we could take our documentary and do a tour of drive-in theaters, because there's a lot of them. Harvey, where is the drive-in?
It's on my Facebook page. On my Facebook page, streaming right now. If you click on it, there's a live link right there that looks like all of that gibberish right there.
But what's the name of the town? Tell the people the name of the town at least.
Go ahead, Harvey. That's a good question. What town is it in? Can you type that quick? Because we're supposed to be ending 4 minutes ago. Go ahead, type. Let's see how Harvey could, with his little fingers, can type on the inside over there.
I mean, why would you tell the people what town? There's no challenge to that. Just tell them it's in Jersey. Open the window and listen for Southside.
Yeah, there you go. By the way, my friend Colin is here. I think Colin. Oh, it's at Monmouth Racetrack.
Monmouth Racetrack.
That's a really big venue. Usually there's horses, and now we have comedians and stand-ups.
So they're only going to get to hear the music as they come by? When they go around in circles.
The radio. Colin is here. Hello, Colin. Say hi to Jackie.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you?
Hey, Colin.
Pretty good. Hey, I'm confused. I've never lived in Jersey, but the thing is, I thought you don't measure Jersey by towns, you measure them by exit numbers.
Well, that doesn't work that well, because the exits are on top of each other until you get halfway down in Jersey, and then they're further apart than Kansas to California. So you could go fucking nuts, you know. But yeah,
well, I got a joke for you.
All right.
Now, I told John this one.
I want to say one thing. Even if you suck, I want you to call back all the time, because you have a microphone. It works. You know what you're doing. We can understand.
I pretend like I know what I'm doing.
Well, we applaud you. We applaud.
Let me tell you, this guy is brilliant when it comes to computers, and so is this guy in Vegas, Johnny Preto. When I have a problem with computers, these guys, and they are always giving. They never say no.
We haven't got any time. Don't suck that cocks. Let's
you're
hear
right.
your joke, Colin.
Right.
All right. So I told John this joke a couple weeks ago. He came up with a different punchline than I came up with. So let's see if you can come up with a different punchline than either of us came up with. And Ian, you judge, right? Okay, so little story. A guy goes on an island vacation with his fiance. They're hanging out. She says, if you really love me, you'll get a tattoo of my name on your dick. Her name's Wendy. He says, looks down at his dick. He says, yeah, I can do that. No problem. And so they go to the tattoo artist. His girlfriend starts jerking him, starts giving him a hand job, gets him nice and hard. Tattoo artist starts Wendy, Wendy, and hurts like a motherfucker, but it gets done. It's okay. He goes back to the hotel, relaxes a little bit. Dick's flaccid. He looks down and says WDY. Goes out to the beach. He's trying to have a good time, and he needs to go to the restroom. So he goes to the public restrooms. And Jackie, what's the punchline, man?
Next to him, there's a black guy, and he looks down the black guy's dick, says Wendy. He says, hey, man, you've been fooling around with my wife? He says, no, man, when I get a hard on, it says, welcome to Jamaica. Have a glorious day.
There you go. Jackie, you beat John on that one. John came up with a different one. What was your punchline?
I don't remember my punchline.
Who's going to have the nerve, number one, to give a black guy a tattoo on his dick, and who's going to be able to read it? You know. Plus, if he's not circumcised, think you can put a whole nother chapter on there, you know.
So that
like when they write an encyclopedia on a grain of rice.
Right.
HTML code would be more like it. Hey, look at this. Christine says, I saw you in Jersey, Jackie, and you were friggin' hysterical. And by the way, it's Jersey. It's freaking hysterical.
Now, Christine, do you want to take another shot at spelling your name?
Yeah. How do you say GRZ?
Jesus. I bet it's like Keka. How do you say it?
Rosacea.
No idea.
I don't know.
But hey, thank you, Colin. It's good to see you.
Have a good evening, folks.
First of all, Christine, thank you for the lovely compliment. And Colin, thanks for calling in with that joke. Email me, jokeland@aol.com. Let me send you some jokes. Same to you, Lisa Freud. Same to you, Christine. Whatever your name was.
And before we leave, Jackie, there's this stoic Charlie Fisher once again. And you can find you on where? Cameo.com/Jackie Martling.
I love how you just bring him in for like this.
No, just for 1 second. I just call it, it's the stoic. I say it's the stoic Charlie Fisher.
We destroyed, Jackie, we should make a formal apology to Charlie Fisher for what
Hey, Charlie, fuck you.
We put him through. Everybody on the show had a thing, like what Jackie's thing for me was that I enjoyed lactation. I liked lactation porn. Like that was my thing. So anything that had involved like a milky tit or something like that. Charlie's thing was he had a tiny dick.
I remember that. It started with Jenna Axelrod. I remember that.
Jenna Axelrod. Jackie.
For 8 years.
Yep.
Poor Charlie.
Convinced the world that Charlie had a tiny dick.
Yeah.
And then on the last day, it's welcome to Jamaica. Have a glorious day.
Poor Charlie. Charlie, everyone loves you, Charlie. He's the great. He's
Charlie. Charlie has to jerk himself out.
Charlie looks like he got a haircut. Did they open up the haircutters down where you are in the south?
Yeah.
I'm going to mail you a fucking stool, Charlie, so your head will be in the middle of the screen.
Jackie, he can mail you a fucking haircut.
You know what? Me and Barbara are together every second of every day to where we want to kill each other.
That's not true.
And I just sent her 14 texts and called the house 3 times, which is exactly 100 feet away, asking her to come out. She fixes my hair and puts it to my head and sprays it and fixes me all up for these cameo.coms that are 1 minute that nobody sees. And I'm going crazy out here because I look like Uncle Scrooge. And where the fuck is she?
I was going to go more for Ben Franklin.
She's right here on the phone when I'm offline. I have her right here. Jackie, it's so funny.
Barb.
You have to have Barbara actually make yourself up in order to do a cameo appearance. It's like you have your
No. The point is she insists on it. That's what's so crazy.
She wants you to look your best. That's a good way.
Just for the cameo stuff that Jackie does is amazing. Like if you want to do something for a friend that's a fan or somebody who just loves jokes or whatever.
Have you seen any of them?
Jackie puts work into these things. No, I was there when you did one. When we were doing the shoot, like I think you did 2 or 3 of them that day. Jackie's like writing stuff, whatever, he cares about it. Like he does a real deal.
I got 37 5-star reviews, and they're all right there on the web, and they got like 6 examples. And I tell people, you don't have to get a cameo.com. Go to the cameo.com, and if you watch 6 of my old ones, forget not knowing who it is. There's like 5 jokes on each one. It's like you can walk away with enough jokes for 3 months, I swear to God, I thought I just saw Charlie Fisher, but it was just his cock.
I can actually show you that if you want to see it.
It just occurred to me that like it's bad enough that joke went on. This joke went on for 8 years. It now lives on today.
Of course.
There you go.
Now jump to a different platform.
Hey, John, did you ever hear the story of Charlie's first date with his wife?
God.
No, I have not. Please tell me before we're over by 12 minutes, but please tell me.
Charlie talked her into coming over to his hotel room, and she came over and he took down his pants, and she looked and she said, "Jesus Christ, who do you think you're going to satisfy with that thing?" And he said, "Me."
That's a great joke.
Charlie, I love you.
Charlie, we love you, and I can't speak from experience, but all right, you have a small dick.
He has a little dick.
All right, here's John. I'll leave you with this. A joke I switched around. It's as old as the hills, but switched around. It's funny. 2 priests meet at a seminar, and the first priest says to the second priest, "Did you ever get caught fucking an altar boy in the ass in the cloakroom?" And the other priest says, "No." He says, "It's a good place to hide, huh?"
Nice twist. I like that direction. I love the twist of the direction. That's really
of course.
Willie Nelson tells a really great joke in the doc. Jackie and Willie kind of sit across from each other at Willie's tour bus, and Willie sits there and says, these 2 nuns are riding bicycles in the Vatican courtyard, and one nun turns to the other and says, I've never come this way before. And the other nun says, "Yeah, it must be the cobblestones."
Which is lovely. Just lovely.
Willie Nelson telling this joke.
A nun coming joke, one of the most and I got it on tape is he decided to let me talk to him on tape, not the time with Ian, but the year before.
Willie.
And his daughter is taping us, and we're talking. And he says, "Yeah, I always loved jokes." He said, "I used to open the show. I played bass for Ray Price in Ray Price's band, but I used to open the show, and I would go out with my guitar and play a song and tell a bunch of jokes." And I'm like, "Willie, we're the same fucking person. I mean, you're a little bit more famous, but that he did exactly what I used to do. He started out telling jokes and playing songs.
Wow.
And then when the real band came out, then he was the bass player." I'm like, holy shit,
Wow. And who would know? Who would know?
Oh, but who knew? I mean, I wasn't interviewing him. We're just talking.
Did you smoke pot with Willie?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh boy, that's a story.
Ian doesn't smoke pot, and he smoked pot with him.
I actually today got a marijuana brownie, but I couldn't keep it lit.
Here's the thing. I know you're late, but
we're 15 minutes late. But guess what? We're not confined to a radio station.
Not confined, right? After we finished the interview, and Willie was smoking throughout the whole interview for the doc. So we're done, and we're just kind of hanging around, telling jokes and whatever. And Willie's smoking his thing, and
yeah, he didn't. But you don't see him smoking on.
No, not during it. But the point was that he was, he was partaking. Anyway, he finishes, and he has the thing in his mouth, and he has like a little, one of those electronic, what are they called, vaporizers, right? And
a vape pen.
A vape pen, right? So yeah, see, I smoke a lot. Yeah, so he has a vape pen. He takes a hit. And I'm watching him do it. And he looks at me and he makes eye contact and he turns the thing this way and he goes like this.
No, let me tell. He handed it to me and I took a big hit of it. I gave it back to him because I didn't want to pass it to Ian because I didn't want to embarrass him because I didn't know if he'd take any. And Willie goes to hand it to Ian, and you know, like he says, you don't, you know, what do you do when Willie Nelson passes you the pipe? You don't say no. So Ian took a big hit off it, but he had such a fucking coffee spell that I was like, fuck it. And I said, Willie, give me the, and I took another toke because I had to wait for Ian to stop coughing.
When you see it, he was vamping for me, you know. But when you see Willie, like, look at you, that Willie Nelson's face, 18 inches from my head, going, you know, and of course I lean in, and he's pushing the button, and I'm like, this is totally surreal, like, really, like it's out of body, you know, experiences.
So John,
I didn't want to embarrass myself, so I took
going to see Willie. We're going to see Willie at the House of Blues, and we go, and Ian has the camera with him from doing the doc, and we're stoned. I mean, God knows it's like Willie's, you know, Willie's Reserve is the pot. It's his own pot,
exactly.
And it's at the fucking. And we go in, and we have backstage passes, or we have passes to get in rather. But Ian's got the camera with him, and they're like, you can't come in with that. And Ian, who is not used to pot, is stoned out of his fucking head. He had to find his way back to the hotel in New Orleans, drop off the camera, and come back, which had to be a fucking labor of job. It was unbelievable.
It was unreal.
In New Orleans. This took place in New Orleans.
But I'll tell you my favorite part of that story. I mean, I'm so paranoid that like I'm clutching the camera in the back of the Uber, and I swear that I've lost it. You know, and I bring it up to the room and I drop it off, and I leave the hotel room and I'm checking it 5 times to make sure it's still on the table and everything. I make it back to the House of Blues, and I come into the room, and Jackie is all the way in the back by the bar. So I'm like, oh God. So I
wanted to be where he could find me.
Hold on. This is so fucking great. Jackie's all the way in the back by the bar, and I see all these people, whatever. And I start making my way towards him. And there are 3 steps, you know, just kind of another little level. And I realize I can't make it up the steps, and there's no railing. It's just 3 steps. So I'm pushing on people to get myself up these steps. I finally make it over to Jackie, and I'm out of my mind. And I said, Jackie, why are you standing all the way back here? And Jackie looks at me real slow and goes, I need the wall.
So we're standing there, stoned as hell, and we're watching this old man on stage play an incredible 75-minute, you know, but it was like, you know, when you smoke a joint with a bunch of guys and I'm stoned and you're stoned. He said, the 3 of us got stoned and we're in the back and we don't know who we are. And he's on stage destroying the crowd, playing a flawless set. And we're like, motherfucker.
And he had probably 5 hits of that, right, you know, Jackie, before the thing. I mean, we're really, I said, Jackie, I'm standing right next to you. I need you.
Jesus.
I mean, that guy was smoked so much though. I mean, his cadaver, you could probably get high off his cadaver, like when he's laying there.
You know, he's such a good guy. We took a chance because we had a date arranged with him, but you never know. We went all the way to New Orleans, and the bus was parked in front of the House of Blues, and banged on the door, and sure and shit, they let us in, and we did. It was like cockwork, you know.
It was, and it's a really, really, really sweet part of the movie because you really.
One of the things I wanted to bring up too, by the way, because look at Jackie's hair right now. It's freakish. It's really funny. It's actually really, really funny, Jackie. And
she's gonna kill me if she knows I did this.
That's all right. You'll live. No, who's watching? So. You know, the thing in the trailer that you sent me, and no one's got to see this trailer. You said it's private, but I watched the trailer, and I have to say the Joke Man trailer was really so well done. And one of the things I think you mentioned in the trailer throughout it was that people don't know about Jackie is that he's not a guy who has a lot of pride. Like he's sitting there tonight. He's wearing a t-shirt. His hair is a mess. He's got a booger hanging out. He has no pride in like I have to be perfect about anything. He just goes with the flow and doesn't give a shit. And that is almost a beautiful freedom that most people don't experience.
Yeah, you tell that to the fucking woman that I live with that puts papers. She puts papers under the cuckoo clock.
Really? Yeah,
Oh my God, it's fucking, it's the greatest marriage of craziness you ever saw. Oh my God, I make her fucking nuts, you know.
you need that. You need that woman that's going to keep you in
Shit,
line.
Jackie, there's dirt on the floor. I'm like, oh, of course there is. It was on my feet. Hey, we should go. We're gonna use up everything. I used up all my jokes.
That's quite. Well, I have 7 pages here. I can.
I'm kidding. I told 2
It's
jokes.
all my fault, guys. I just called to say hello.
No, it's great. It's great.
This is
great.
delightful. As a matter of
So,
fact,
same place next week. I just hope when we hang up and go inside and turn on the TV that we still have a country. That's all.
yeah, it's going to be fine. Listen. Remember Bernie Getz came and went. Remember all the silliness. The September 11th, which was a major thing in our history, and it's come and gone. It's a memory that we don't forget, but it's important to us. But at the same time, we do move on as a country, and this will happen as well here. And humor is the best thing to get us out.
John, I still can't get over the first girl that didn't swallow. You know, people wonder why you wind up fucked up. People talk about, you know, how was your life and how was your life in college and blah blah, and how's your sex life. The first time I got laid, I was 3rd.
Okay.
Wow.
I don't think I even told Ian that ever.
Sloppy thirds.
I was 3rd.
People all saying hello to you, Jackie, and all this. There's all your jokes. We got to go. By the way, speaking of jokes, I was thinking of this morning. It's a mother-in-law joke. A guy says to his wife, he says, "I can't win. I told you I would love you. I'd love to have your mother come over." And she goes, yeah. And now look at you. You're crying. I can never make you happy. And she goes, look, just put the fucking urn on the fireplace, will you? Thank you. Come on, give us one good joke to end it all off, and we'll close this all up before we.
The guy goes into the bar and he's all ripped up and clothes are shredded. And the bartender says, "What happened to you?" He says, "I just buried my mother-in-law." He says, "Why are your clothes all ripped up?" He says, "She wouldn't lie still."
And Ian, it's not. You didn't interrupt anything. Come in every Monday. I love Ian. As a matter of fact, I enjoyed your show. It was called Jackie Joke Hunt on Sirius 101 for so many years. I listened to every episode. I still have DVDs of them. I love the jokes. And you and Ian together are like the greatest.
You
Ian,
know, I sit here. I put together jokes for Feldman.
Thank you.
I put together jokes for all kinds of different shows, and the way I find them is I've got all 402 scripts to all of the jokes.
Of course you do.
Word for word. But as I'm scrolling through the jokes, I get to the fake emails. I get to all hail. We used to all hail whoever, and the fake newscasts. And I sit here and fucking laugh out loud like a moron. And I think some of them are funny. Who knows? You know.
They're always
take some of those shows and put them up as podcasts, Jackie. I know we talked about it, but I really think it would bring some laughter and joy into this crazy world.
Well, sir, I don't know how to do that, but I've got them all. If somebody knows how to post them, I got them.
I know how to do it. I think the issue was you didn't want any confusion with gigs or something like that.
No. I don't. At this point, who gives a fuck?
Hey,
they were Mr. Rips in there, so
we're here on Mondays at 8. So what are we going to say? We'll see you when.
See you next Monday.
Yeah, see you next Monday.
Come Monday.
Yeah, Monday at 8 o'clock. We'll be here again. And Ian, please come in because I miss you. It's great seeing you. It really is.
Great to see you too.
I am combing my hair next week.
Don't comb it, cut it.
Lisa Freud will be here with us with her guitar.
Harvey Leeds is talking about all the fun stuff.
Harvey Leeds.
Yep. Lisa says she'll be here for sure.
That's good. That's good.
Okay. All right, we'll see you guys next Monday at 8 o'clock. Thank you so much, guys. And Ian, it was a pleasure seeing you. And thank you.
Go to Jokeland and give Jackie a haircut on your show.
You do know that I invented the COVID virus just so my mother-in-law would have to wear a mask.
See you guys.
Tuesday.
That was for Harvey.
Monday,
bye, you guys.
Monday at 8.
Bye, Kate.
Out. Bye.